And the reason why this is the move that Noctie really wants to play is if I take it, yes, I am winning a pawn, but Noctie achieves its goal of making sure that that caged bishop is traded. Hello everyone, I'm Emil Stefanov, International Master, and in this video, I will walk you through the weekly scenario, week 47 in Noctie. If you wish to try out this position for yourself, you can follow the link in the description. Let's get started. Let's take a look into the position. This comes from a very famous game. With the white pieces, it was British master William Winter, and with the black pieces, it's none other than the third world champion José Raúl Capablanca. This game was played in 1919, and the reason why it is so famous is because earlier in the game, Capablanca managed to cage the bishop on g3. Why is it cage? Well, our pawns currently are controlling the squares, the forward capabilities of the bishop, so the bishop cannot go to f4, neither to h4, neither can it take the pawn because our bishop on d6 is covering the pawn on e5. And if we consider the backwards maneuvers for the bishop, well, the f2 pawn's in the way, and going back to h2 doesn't really achieve much. So, in a way, white is playing down a piece. Now, of course, they still have the bishop on g3, and they could try to open it up. So we do have to be a little bit careful. Of course, if the bishop has already been caged, and we can't really play on the queen side, on the king side because of that, then we should try to play on the queen side. If we play through the center, then white might be able to play c3, d4, and in the event of e takes d4, bishop takes d6, white would have achieved what they wanted, is to trade away this bishop on g3 for ours on d6. Of course, other ways which we should be careful to not let this bishop out is after the move h4, we should never take, because bishop takes h4, the bishop will come back to life. So with that all being said, we should focus on two things. First of all, because it's the end game, we should try to bring our king towards the center. That's always going to be a good plan, no matter the position. And then second, we should try to find open files for our rooks that they can utilize so that they may attack the opponent's weaknesses. Lastly, this will come into a later stage of the game. We would like to utilize our bishop. Currently, the bishop on d6 is passive, right? It's not caged because it has future capabilities. Let's say we push c5, c4. But for the moment, our bishop is not doing much other than protecting as well. So that will come onto a later stage. For now, let's start with the move f6, which Noctie doesn't think it's the best move. That's okay with me. King g2, I will play king f7. As I said, Noctie thinks that's a good move. That's awesome. We're going to go towards the center, improve the position of our king. h4, again, be on the lookout. Do not take this pawn. Whatever you do, do not take the pawn. So I'm going to play king e6, just make sure my king is in the center. Okay, Noctie doesn't think that's the best move. I am just merely playing in the manner that José Raúl Capablanca was playing. His idea was to bring his king towards the center. Now Noctie is trying to go for some active play on the h-file. And although that is something we should be careful about, currently I don't see anything happening really. So I'm going to start preparing for play on the other side of the board. So ultimately, I would like to push these pawns and be able to exchange a couple of pawns and open up some files for my rooks, maybe even play c5, c4 at a certain moment. So let's see. I could start with a5. That does allow a4, and I'm placing another pawn on a dark square. I could start with b5, but after a4, I still have to be a little bit careful. I don't really want to ruin my pawn structure. So I'll start with a5 for the moment, which Noctie thinks it's a great move. I'm assuming I'm going to see a4 from Noctie. Okay. Now let's see. We could play rook fb8 and try to continue with b5, which I think that seems logical. So I'm going to play it. Rook fb8, excellent move. Anytime you're sparring against Noctie and you see the excellent move, there's just a bit of sunshine, right? We're not really sure if that was the best move, but there's Noctie right there to tell us, okay, that was the best move. So it always feels nice when that's the case. Okay, let's play c6 and b5, shall we? I don't want to play b5 because that would ruin my pawn structure. I would like to keep things intact. So Noctie believes this is a good move, which I'm going to take. I'm happy with that. Let's see what Noctie will do. I'm assuming h takes g5. No, king f1. Okay, Noctie's trying to get the king into the center. Okay, that's understandable. I'll play b5 as promised. That's kind of what I wanted to do. And let's see what Noctie will do now. So I'm assuming, oh no, king g2. Okay, Noctie is saying, I'm very rock solid. You can't break me. To which I'm a little shocked. Okay. So in this position, I have to be a little bit careful. Obviously, the breakthrough that I would like to achieve starts with c5, c4. That's kind of the way that our bishop is going to be active. However, at the same time, we have to be a little bit careful because that would allow d4. In some situations, I'm anticipating hg, rook h6. The rook might be a little bit annoying there. Okay, I've thought for a little bit, and I'm thinking rook a7 is kind of a move just to pass the turn. Let's see what Noctie wants to do and also protect the 7th rank. It's probably an okay move. I'm assuming c5, c4 is also a good move. Just really trying to open up the position. So let's go ahead and play it. And it's a great move told to us by Noctie, which is good. So let's see what Noctie will do now. I'm assuming d4 is the move that Noctie really wants to play. And the reason why this is the move that Noctie really wants to play is if I take it, yes, I am winning a pawn, but Noctie achieves its goal of making sure that that caged bishop is traded. What I could do is I could take it, of course, and just run with it. I could also take on b3 first, since that doesn't really change matters much. But the problem is after takes, hg, there is rook h6. So things are getting a little chaotic. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to keep the bishop cage. But now I'll move my advantage from one type of an advantage to a different type of an advantage. Now I'll have a material advantage. Yes, it's a rook endgame. It's not the best type of endgame to try to win because one extra pawn in a rook endgame is really not enough in most situations. But okay, I will try my best to win this. If anything, I can always go and take back. So let's see. Okay, I think Noctie has not played in the best manner because I definitely don't think that Noctie managed to create as much counterplay. But after rook c5, okay, now that I just say that, yeah, rook c5 attacks both my pawns. I am about to lose my extra pawn, so I do have 2 extra pawns, but these are doubled, so things got out of hand. So let's see where we went wrong. Let's go ahead and take back. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the position where Noctie said c5, c4 was a good move, so we'll go ahead and play that. And let's see here. Somewhere here we made a mistake. So after d4, probably we were supposed to do something else. Oh, Noctie didn't play d4 first time, so let's see if he'll do it right now. I'm assuming d4 is the move. It has to be. No, it's rook d1. Very interesting. Okay, we got off the hook. Okay, I thought Noctie would play d4. I'm not sure what we would have done there differently. Maybe we can go back later and see if Noctie was going to play d4. But let's go ahead and take this pawn. And I'm assuming if c takes d3, we'll play rook b4. hg5. Sure, I can always play hg5. Although I could take on c2 now because Noctie just gave me that ability. Just attack the rook, and yeah, I think this is very logical. I think we could just take the pawn and tempo the rook, and after the rook moves, then only recapture on g5. And okay, rook d2, that's kind of the same. After h takes g5, rook takes c2. We could just play with the extra piece that we have, and there we go. We could play c5, and I don't see how Noctie wins because, again, the bishop on g3 is locked in. So that's the main difference between our position and Noctie's position. And we're going to play rook b4 and really just make sure we're attacking this pawn. Now we could also slide the rook over to d4. And we could utilize this rook as well. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's play... of course, I just want to push the pawn. But let's go ahead and play rook b8 first. Either way, could have also placed it on c8. Could have placed it on d8. Again, this bishop is not doing much. And let's play... I would like to play rook d4. I'm not entirely sure how winning that is. I mean, I do have the passed pawn there. I believe I should simply be winning. Could reroute my bishop later to c3 and really just get make sure I'm improving my king there, which I think is a good plan. So we'll go ahead and do it. Rook d4. We'll go ahead and take. Okay, Noctie tries to resist, but we'll play rook b4 and we'll catch up the pawn on a4. Okay, I think from here on it will be an easier win. Yes, Noctie defends, but at some moment Noctie will run out of defensive capabilities. Of course, f4 and f3 is what Noctie would like to do, right? So we do have to be a little bit careful. Obviously, we don't want to just allow this bishop to come back in the game. But for the moment, the e4 pawn would also be hanging in some moments. Let's see what we want to do. We could play c4. That's seeming like a good option. And then, yeah, we just have a very easy way of pushing the pawn even further with c3. So, yeah, I think that sounds about right. Let's go ahead and play c4. Noctie will probably attack it back with rook c1 or rook c2. But, okay, bishop g3 just staying. That's totally fine with me. I probably want to play rook b3 just to allow this bishop to have the ability to come into the game. Rook h1. Okay, seeking some counterplay with this rook. That's understandable. However, our bishop is here, and we could just also play rook d3 and capture this pawn, but we don't really need to capture this pawn. We just need to keep pushing the pawn. So I'll play c3 and keep it going. Rook c2 makes sense. Okay, so that's just another pawn, and we're going to capture it. And then rook c1, we have ways of defending the pawn. And with this rook potentially looking to play rook c8, right, we could play rook c4 and push the pawn all the way to a3 from where our bishop is covering it, and then play rook b2. Everything and anything feels like it's winning here. So it's just so much easier when we have the extra piece, right? We don't even have to move our king. We could just play bishop e7 and just keep it going. Yeah, we could have played king d7, of course. Nothing wrong with it. Noctie might just give me another check, and I could just block it. King h3. Okay, let's push a3. And next move is rook b2. We'll get rid of the rook on c2. Sure, let's play bishop d6, block the check, and sooner or later we are going to play rook b2 and simply be winning. This rook will have to slide away, and then we'll play c2, and the pawns are storming. Okay, rook a1, last bit of resistance. Of course, we could just promote. We could play rook b1. Anything and everything is winning here. So I'm going to play rook b1, just a simple move because I do want to promote my full queen. Rook takes a3. Okay, we're going to promote, and checkmate is soon going to happen. So queen takes b1, and let's see. How fast can we checkmate Noctie here? I'll play queen f1, line up rook c1 and queen h1, checkmate. Okay, good attempt by Noctie, but I am paying attention. So we'll take this, and we'll take this as well. And we will checkmate. After f4, we will capture here. And let me go ahead and play g4. So I force f3 to happen, and after that, or e5. Okay, I forgot about e5. Okay, after f takes e5, then we'll see f3. And rook c2 checkmate. Okay, there we go. I'm very curious what Noctie would have done had we played all the way back here. Had we played, had Noctie played the move, yeah, right here. Had Noctie played the move d4, things would have been a little bit different. So my advice for you is if you are playing this, then maybe you could keep... This is sort of the plan that José Raúl Capablanca established in the game. Definitely we need open files on the queen side, so definitely we need to play a5 and b5. Most of the times the problem with b5 is that after a4, we don't really want to play b4. And yeah, probably would have to play a6. Yeah, probably, maybe that would be better. I'm not entirely sure. Again, if you know the game, this really helps, knowing that the push is c5, c4. Of course, Noctie could do it before we play c5, c4. And in a way also lock our bishop. However, I think we could try to pile up on the b pawn or use our rooks to be more aggressive. Of course, if I have to guess, probably a6, b5 will be the safer approach, because our bishop in the future could utilize the a5 square. Currently here, our bishop is as locked as the one on g3. The only difference is it's obviously way more useful covering weaker pawns. Yeah, you definitely have to play out this position for yourself to figure out what is the best move. But okay, if Noctie plays d4, then maybe you need to be a little bit more careful. Maybe allow d takes c5, f takes c5. But if that's the case, we definitely need to make sure that there is no rook h6 check. So maybe ultimately the move probably was going to be bishop e7, let this happen, and then position the bishop on f6. That probably would have been interesting, but Noctie decided to take, which definitely eased our game. And from there on, yeah, even if c takes d3, we were just going to follow it up with rook b4 and just clean up the a4 pawn, and the two passed pawns will decide the game, which is kind of what happened in the game with Noctie as well. Alrighty, good luck in this position, and make sure to have fun along the way. Bye.